The views and opinions expressed by the guest author or speaker during this live session are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Reader's Magnet. The content shared is for informational purposes only and does not constitute endorsement or promotion of any particular belief, ideology, or product.
Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another awesome day here at RM Hive, and you are tuning in to Reader's Magnet's featured author interview. I'm your host, Revan, and today's featured author is someone who lives at the intersection of science, curiosity, and human potential. She spent years helping people make sense of their health, their habits, and the invisible factors that shape success, especially when life doesn't turn out that way it should. With a background rooted in pharmacy, chemistry, and clinical practice, she brings a rare mix of evidence based thinking and real world insight, translating complex ideas into clear, practical wisdom. Beyond the lab and the lecture hall, she's a writer at heart, passionate about mindset, leadership, critical thinking, and empowering people to trust their own ability to grow, heal, and adapt. Her work challenges the idea that failure always means you did something wrong and instead invites a deeper look at what's often overlooked. Thoughtful, direct, and refreshingly human, she asks the questions many of us feel but don't always know how to articulate. Please welcome this beautiful author of The Missing Variable: Why Things Go Wrong When You Are Doing Everything Right, Dr. Jill Fandrich. Hi, Dr. Jill. Thank you for joining us here. Nice to see you
Hello,
again
Revan.
here.
And hello, Ella. Ella mentioned hi in there. So, hi, everyone. It's nice to be here. Oh, and hello, Tash. And it's
Yeah.
nice to hear from you as well. Thank you very, very much.
Yes. So
Pleasure.
first of all, Dr. Jill, how are you during our festival of storytellers? I know some of these people have watched you with us here.
Revan, it was phenomenal. That's a great word for it. I know Lady
True.
Million uses that word, and I love it. It was just so wonderful getting to know all the different authors, and they are so different from each other, and everyone has such an amazing thing to add. Their story and their experience, and so much of it is a lived experience, and some get into fiction, but even that is part of their lived experience. So I had a wonderful time getting to know all these people and sharing in their story with them and being a part of their I guess their story, and the later part of their story. So it was
True.
absolutely wonderful and so well put together. Reader's Magnet did an amazing job. It was such a beautiful makeover, and I
Mhm.
absolutely love the themes that carried through. So everything about it was absolutely wonderful.
True. I also love hearing stories from these authors and how they actually got the idea or the inspiration behind the book. And
Right.
it's really nice to know the journey as well and
Oh,
sharing
absolutely.
their stories right there. Yeah.
Yeah, the journeys are amazing. You can't make
True.
this stuff up for a lot of people, and it's just so it's so brave that they share their journey, and that is what helps other people. So it's a win-win. They can kind of vent and put it down in writing and get it off their mind and declutter their mind. And I like to talk about how that brings clarity by
Mhm.
getting it off your mind, but it also
Nice.
helps so many other people by them sharing that story. So it's a
Yes.
wonderful win-win.
True. True. It's a win-win. And right now, speaking of sharing story, you are here with me as my featured author interview, my featured author in this interview with your featured book, The Missing Variable. So, as a PharmD with over 20 years in clinical pharmacy and holistic health, how has your professional journey influenced the themes in The Missing Variable? And what inspired you to write a book that reframes setbacks as opportunities rather than failures?
Well, this is a really good question. Of course, Brevin, you asked the best questions.
Thank you.
But my career taught me something early on that never sat right with me. And we're very quick to label outcomes as personal
Mhm.
failures, as you mentioned, that I like to talk about. And
Mhm.
that's without fully understanding the context around what really produced them. So, in clinical pharmacy, I saw patients blamed for things that were either system failures or timing issues or missing information or even some unseen biological stressors. But
Mhm.
over time, I realized we do the same thing in life in general. We internalize blame when the real issue is often something unrecognizable, like
Mhm.
an unforeseen variable. And the missing variable was inspired by that particular pattern that I kept seeing over and over again. And I wanted to give people that permission to stop asking, what's wrong with me? What does
Mhm.
keep happening to me? And instead, to refocus and reframe it to, what am I not seeing yet? So, oh, hi, Reginald. It's so good to see you on here. Um, but that single shift, it reframes setbacks from that proof of an inadequacy that we get in our minds into invitations for understanding. And that's where resilience actually begins. And Revan, you and I had talked about
Mhm. Sure.
understanding. You said there was a position that you were in where you
Mhm.
didn't have all the information and you didn't fully understand that
Yeah.
position. And it's so hard to do when you don't have all that information, when you
Yes.
don't have that understanding. I mean, you have to kind of um, make the best judgment that you can if you don't have it. And that is not a good position to be in. That's not a fair
Mhm.
position
True.
to be in. Unless you can go out and you have the time to go seek and find it, it's really difficult when you don't have that understanding. And so, the way I like to reframe things just invites you to get more understanding, and then your resilience can begin to grow.
Nice. That's is actually a really nicely put up ideas right there, so people can actually learn from it. So yes, I agree with
Oh,
Tash.
thank
Jill's
you,
insight
Tash.
feels compassionate, not preachy. That made it easy to. Yes, I believe that as well.
Sometimes I might have a little too much passion, but I love it. It just means so much to
Yeah.
me. And I just want people to understand that. I love how you design
Yeah.
your book cover. Oh, thank you. That's my Pong guy. I love that Pong guy. I don't know if everybody understands them, but I particularly love that one. And every time I see the cover, I have to laugh a little
Mhm.
bit. Just this big
Yeah.
Pong guy looking at the red guy there, that missing variable in the middle. So thank you for
True.
that. Thank you for appreciating my artwork there.
Okay. So talking about this book, this one guy right here. So this is the missing variable. And in this book, you use 13 real life case studies to uncover hidden external factors in life's mishaps. So what are one or two examples from the book that illustrate how spotting these variables can lead to greater emotional resilience and wellness?
Okay, I alluded to these, or maybe just flat out said them last time, but I'll reiterate some and then maybe add a little bit
Mhm.
more. But
Sure,
one
sure, sure.
example involves someone who believed they were emotionally weak because they couldn't just
Mhm.
bounce back from a stressful situation the way they saw other people bouncing back. The
Mhm.
missing variable turned out to be this cumulative cognitive overload. And I think there is a lot of that in our culture today. And that's why I'm bringing this one up, because there's a lot of mental fog and
Mhm.
fatigue. And like I say, just there's this internal inflammation in our bodies. And it's because there are too many decisions, too little recovery time, and
Mhm.
this constant background stress. So once that's named, the shame can disappear. Like in this
Mhm.
particular case, where the person I'm thinking of, they had this new outlook on life, and then they were able to make these practical changes and move forward with that. And
Mhm.
they started to see some real success because they weren't afraid of it anymore, because it wasn't
True.
this big ugly thing they were staring at. They broke it down.
Mhm.
And like I like to say, you peel the layers. You're starting to peel the layers away. And another case examines another burnout that was mistaken for a lack of motivation.
Mhm.
Um, when we uncovered the missing variable in this particular case, we saw that chronic inflammation, and that was combined with unrealistic performance expectations. And the person finally stopped self attacking and started healing when they realized what this was. And again, we peeled away the layers, and it's the best. That's the best approach, because you don't want to just go cold turkey into something like that.
Mhm.
And some people can, and it's successful. But when you take these small steps, it's more achievable until you're ready to
Mhm.
maybe take bigger and bigger and bigger. But at this point, the person needs to have some kind of healing first. And as they feel more resilient and stronger, then they can move forward. But in both of these cases, resilience didn't come from trying harder. It came
Mhm.
from seeing more clearly, from defining what the problem was. And that's the heart of this book. And
Mhm.
there are many more stories. And I'm going to tell you a couple of the titles. There's Testy
Uh-huh.
Teenagers,
Mhm.
Business Blunders, Technical Glitches, and Bush League Bosses are a couple of the other titles that I don't get into them as much. And maybe I should,
Uh-huh.
because there's even about single parenting. And
Mhm.
these, they're all of them are real life issues. And I don't want to give the whole book away, but every story in there can be applied over and over and over. And even if it's not directly named, the
Uh-huh.
scenario itself is something that happens in daily life. So it's very applicable, and it can be a constant companion, and you can even just choose the chapter that applies most to you at the time. You know, if you're dealing with this teenager, this terrible
Mhm.
teenager, or if you're having issues with your boss or something like that, you can
Mhm.
flip to that exact chapter. And then we talked about some weather and some other temperament things as well.
True. So you know what? What I really admire about you is that there are a lot of titles under your name. So there are lots of books that you've written, and they are all inspirational. And that's what I love about your work. So you basically authored books on critical thinking, natural immunity, leadership, burnout, mental fog, fatigue,
Yeah.
and now resilience in this book, The Missing Variable. So speaking about this book, how does this fit into your overall mission as an author, and what makes it a must read for busy professionals or parents?
Well, I analyzed all my books at one point, and I thought, oh my gosh, am I just like way out there, just coming up with
Uh-huh.
this idea or that idea? Because on the surface, my books look pretty diverse, but
Mhm.
underneath, they all ask the same question: who or what
Mm.
is shaping your outcomes without your awareness, and maybe even without your permission?
Mhm.
So, the missing variable is the connective tissue in my work. And of course, I have to say that because of my medical background. So,
Mhm.
sorry if it
Yeah, I
doesn't
can
have
understand the term.
everything. So, it brings together critical thinking, health, leadership, and emotional resilience all into some kind of accessible framework that everybody can work with. And
Mhm.
you'd mentioned for busy professionals or parents,
Yes. Yes.
there's quite an arrangement there. And I apologize, my dog is right here trying to play with
That's all
me.
right.
uh, but it's a must read because it saves time and emotional energy, and it's all included in one package right there. So instead of cycling through self-doubt or quick fixes, readers learn how to identify what actually matters so they can follow easy steps and respond wisely rather
Mhm.
than reactively. because I know me personally, growing up, I would shoot from the hip
Mm-hmm.
and then get shot down.
Uh-huh.
So I would react and respond before I thought. And it's just so
Mm-hmm.
ironic that I have become such a deep critical thinker. And maybe that's why I definitely learned the hard way. But at
Mm-hmm.
least I learned, So I gave myself some
True.
really good lessons from the
True.
very beginning. And with this book, I've actually had quite a few readers stop me, and their
Mm-hmm.
eyes are wide open. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And like one referred to chapter 2, and she
Mm-hmm.
said, "This is me. This is exactly me." And another one did the same with
Love that.
chapter 1, and I'm like, oh, that brings the biggest joy to me, that it is that relatable, that people
Yes.
felt like the chapter was about them and written about them. So I love that. And I've really never met anyone who has read this book that has not found themselves in it
Mm-hmm.
at some point. So it's as if I had personally written it for them. So I love that. And that means it's working. And that's
True.
what matters to me. That's all that I really care about, is that it's effective.
Yes. I really love how you're fulfilling your mission as an author. Spread the words out there and inspire. And this one, they actually relate to what you've written in there. And all of these are real and they're there and they can actually relate to it. They can reflect themselves into
Yes.
on what you've written. And one of the standout features of the missing variable is its and I love this is the reflect section
Yes.
with journaling prompts. So can you share how readers can use these to build daily habits that reduce stress and promote wellness and where they can get the book to start?
Yes, that reflect section, I actually started it on my very first book, Elevate Your Mind to Success. And it was such a big I don't know what the word is, a response from it,
Mm-hmm.
that I just kept making it better and better, and I started putting it in all of my books. And
Mm-hmm.
and it is such a good way. It's first of all, it's designed to be simple and not
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming, because I don't want anyone to think, oh no, I have homework from this book. But when you have to apply it, so
Yeah, true.
yeah. And this reflex section, it helps readers pause, identify assumptions that they're carrying, and gently surface what might be missing in each
Mhm.
situation that they're going through, whichever one they're looking for and looking up. So even if it's only 5 minutes a day, it can interrupt stress patterns, and it could
Mhm.
replace them with what I love, curiosity and clarity.
Mhm.
So those are some really big benefits from the reflect. And as I like to say, resilience doesn't come from trying harder, it
Mhm.
comes from seeing more clearly. So the goal isn't journaling perfectly.
Mhm.
It's about building a habit of what I like to call sense making. So you want to build sense making instead of self blame. And readers, yeah, you can find. Well, I don't know. You had mentioned about where to
Yeah,
find.
where can they find the book? It's not-
Okay,
I'm
I
sorry, I
I
stumbled
know
over my
I
words there.
I could keep going on and on, but I know I got to keep this short. So you can find the missing variable on my website at drjillfandrich.com, along with many other of my books on my books tab, which is still slightly under construction, but it's
Mhm.
gotten even farther along today. So it's looking good and looking better. And on my homepage, there's a missing variable that you can just tap, and it'll take you right to the right place there, along
Mhm.
with Fusion Heart, which is something that I'm really excited about, my new fiction series, and from the Library of Unwritten Futures. But it can
Mhm.
also be found through Reader's Magnet, right, Revan? It's also
Yes.
on Reader's Magnet, and most other places where books are sold.
True. All right. Dr. Joel, thank you so much for having your time with us here today as
Oh,
our
that was
featured
so
author.
fast.
It's always nice to have a conversation with you.
Well, you as well. You as well, Revan. It's always a pleasure.
Yes. All right, Dr. Jill Fandrich, everybody get your copy of The Missing Variable on Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, Reader's Magnet. bookstore, and also her website, that drjillfandrich.com. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I got a little cheat sheet up here,
drjillfandrich.com.
right?
Yes, it's over there. I just
Oh,
all
thank you,
right.
Michelle.
So, guys, let's open the pages and unravel the secrets of your personal odyssey. And I
Thank you,
believe that your
Michelle.
ink never runs dry. So, go tell your story, you storyteller. This is your host, Revan, and our guest here, Dr. Jill Fandrich. And as we say it here at Reader's Magnet, we share your story
Your
with the
story with
world.
the world.
Bye for now. Stay awesome.